lesson for today is 1.2, Properties of Real Numbers. Okay, so in the past, you identified and used the arithmetic properties of real numbers. Today, you're going to learn how to classify real numbers, how to use the properties of real numbers to evaluate expressions. Alright, so these are our new vocabularies. The first one, real numbers, rational numbers, irrational numbers, integers, whole numbers, natural numbers. Alright, key concept. So we have here a diagram on real numbers. So real numbers can be rational. So it is symbolized by the letter Q. So these are the numbers, the decimals, the fractions, which can be expressed using two numbers as a fraction. So those are rationals. And then the second set is irrational, symbolized by the letter I. So these are numbers that you cannot express as a fraction. So your decimals are not repeating. So like for example, the value of pi, square root of 3. So radicals are irrationals as long as you cannot get the root of that number. Alright, another is integers, whole numbers, and natural numbers. So integers are these numbers that you can find in the number line. So you have the negative numbers, the positive numbers. Those are the two kinds of integers. Whole numbers, so these are example 2, 96, 0, square root of 36. Why is that a whole number and not a rational? Because square root of 36 is 6. 36 is a perfect square. Alright, the last one is natural. So these are another name for this numbers is counting numbers. So what's the difference between natural and whole numbers? Whole numbers, that includes 0, while natural, there's no 0 because you don't count using the number 0. So those are the different kinds of real numbers. Alright, let's have an example. Classify numbers. So example 1, name the sets of numbers to which square root of 6 belongs. So square root of 6, is that irrational or rational? So since 6 is not a perfect square, that is irrational and real. Alright, next, name the set of numbers to which 5 belongs. So 5, that is a whole number. What else? That's a natural number. That's a real number. That's also an integer. So natural, whole, integer, rational, real. All 5 of them. Alright, how about negative 2/3? What is negative 2/3? Is that a real number? Yes, it is a rational or irrational. So that's rational. So real and rational. Alright, try this one, guys. The number 3/5 belongs to which set? Alright, so the best answer is rationals and reals. Square root of 5. So square root of 5, 5 is not a perfect square, so that belongs to irrational. Okay, let's move on to the real number properties. So you have learned this already in the past. We will just review them quickly. Alright, so the first property is commutative. So when you say commutative, that includes addition and multiplication. So meaning, if you add two numbers, let's say A plus B, that is the same as B plus A. So the order of the addends, or the numbers to be added, does not affect your answer, your sum. The same thing with multiplication. A times B is the same as B times A. So no matter how you multiply the two numbers, the order does not affect the product. Alright, next is associative. Associative, when you say associative, the numbers to be added or the numbers to be multiplied are grouped into smaller groups using parentheses. So again, grouping symbol does not affect the sum nor the product of the numbers. Identity. So A plus 0 equals A, the same thing as 0 plus A. So meaning any number added to 0 is the number itself. So your identity number or element here is 0. The same thing in multiplication. Any number multiplied by 1 is the number itself. So the identity element there is 1. Okay, the next property is inverse. So in addition, the inverse of positive A is negative A. So that when you add them together, equals 0. And then in multiplication, the inverse of A is 1 over A. The same thing with 1 over A, the inverse is A. So you multiply the two inverses together, it equals 1. Provided that your denominator A must not be equal to 0. Otherwise, your answer is undefined. Alright, next property is closure. So A plus B is a real number. Since A and B are real numbers, so the sum of the two numbers is also a real number. A times B is a real number. Since A and B are real numbers, if you multiply the two numbers together, the product is a real number as well. Alright, last is distributive, a very important property in algebra. So what do you do here? All you need to do is distribute the number outside the parentheses to each number inside the parentheses. So the operation sign here when you distribute is multiplication. So A times B, so you got AB, A times C, so plus AC. So the same thing if you're going to put the A after the parentheses. So those are the real number properties. Alright, let's apply. First example, what property is used in this example? Negative 8 plus 8 plus 15 equals 0 plus 15. So you have noticed that these two are opposite in signs. So the best property that you applied here is the additive inverse property. Alright, another example, 3 plus 0 equals 3. So what is the best answer here? Alright, identity property. Any number added to 0 is the number itself. Okay, let's move on. What is the additive inverse and multiplicative inverse for negative 7? So for additive inverse, the opposite sign of negatives is positive. So positive 7. Multiplicative inverse, you just flip this one. Negative 1 over 7. Alright, check your progress. Try this one. How about positive 5? What's the additive inverse? So positive 5, the additive inverse is the opposite of positive, which is negative. And then flip this. This is 5 over 1. The multiplicative inverse is 1 over 5. So the best answer is letter B. Alright, let's have a word problem. Audrey went to a post office and bought 8 42 cents of stamps. and 8 27-cent postcard stamps. What was the total amount of money Audrey spent on stamps? Alright, so there are two ways to find the total amount spent. So you can use the first method, multiply the number of stamps by the price. So you will get 8 times 0.42 plus 8 times 0.27. You multiply, then add. And you will get an answer of $5.52. And then method number 2, add, then multiply. So add the pieces of both types of stamps and then multiply the total by 8. So 0.42 plus 0.27 added together, you get 0.69, then multiply by the number of stamps. And you get 5.52. So Audrey spent a total of $5.52 on stamps. So you have noticed that both methods result in the same answer. Okay, let's move on to simplifying an expression. So this time we're going to apply the distributive property. So you're going to distribute 4 first inside to each number inside the parentheses, including the variables. Alright, so that's the original problem, and then you distribute. You're basically distributing 4 times 3a, you got that. And then minus 4 times negative b, you get this. And then bring down the plus sign. Do the same thing with 2 times b, you get that 1. And then last, plus 2 times 3a. So we just use the distributive property. And all you need to do is simplify. So simplify, you get 12a minus 4b plus 2b plus 6a. After that, you combine like terms, okay? A should go together, so 12a plus 6a, and then negative 4b plus 2b. So you can also use commutative property for the other properties, and you will get the same answer. So you will get, or you can simply combine these two. So you will get this, and then simplify this two, you will get that. And that is your final answer. So that's how you simplify an expression. Alright, let's move on. I believe that's the end. I hope you learned something from this video, and please practice more using the assigned homework.